smoking it on another lesser podcast.
Do you smoke or?
I don't smoke that.
Why not?
I was going to ask.
Nice.
Well, first of all, as someone once said, a cigar is a cigarette without any manners. I don't know what the kick is. Like, I understand what, boy, do I understand about marijuana, because it gets you high.
You're making me not want to smoke this thing. I'll put that away, all right? Yeah.
No, I want you to be happy here. I'm going
to have a little 42 with you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Right. It's the last week. It's Labor Day weekend.
Come on.
How much? Just
pour till you're happy.
All right.
Yeah.
There's plenty here.
This is incredible, by the way.
Oh, isn't this a great setup?
This is amazing.
I get very upset when people call it a man cave. A man cave is something a married person has that has a fish on the wall. This is a nightclub, right?
It is.
There's the VIP.
I want to invite back when it is a nightclub, though.
Yeah, please. I had parties in here for 20 years before we made it into this.
Yeah.
But you see the VIP sign, it says best friends only, drink what you like.
That was 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Year 2, drink what you like, say what you want.
Oh, okay.
Which is my credo in life as well as here. I've always tried to make the closest approximation of my real life as I can on television. When I did that show, Politically Incorrect, that was the beginning of it. I think Real Time on HBO, which is not a broad, it's a cable network. You can say fuck and whatever the fuck you want.
It's the best.
Right. That got closer to it. But this is the closest. This is exactly what my life is.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and I know you can't.
It seems like on Real Time, that's you, though.
Oh,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
It's just me in a suit, and we're talking politics almost the whole time because that's what the show is. This is much more informal, and I started this because people kept saying to me at dinner, like, there's so many things you talk about that are interesting that you would never go to on Real Time because it's really a weekly wrap-up show. I got to talk about what Biden's fucking doing and shit like that. And that's not all of me. This is closer to me.
I love it.
We get into politics. I'm sure we will too. But, I never know what I'm going to say. That's the other thing. On my show, I prepare everything. Here, I prepare nothing.
Really? Because it seems so off the cuff. You're so brilliant, but it just seems so...
On Real Time.
Yeah.
Yes, because I try to make it look like that. That's what... there's an Italian phrase, sprezzatura. They used to say Joe DiMaggio embodied it. It's making something that is hard look easy. I would say that is very much what you do.
I would send it right back to you.
Well, I'll try to hit the route over the middle, Aaron, and then you can hit me.
Those are the easy ones. You got to get the back shoulder one down the sidelines.
I have to say about football that of all the sport things, I've thought of this many times because I have a basketball court here. Mm-hmm. I have a pitching machine. I hit balls every day.
Really?
I love to. Oh, it's the greatest warm-up. Even if you don't feel like working out, you'll always feel like hitting something. And to swing a bat at a ball, it's like I can get into a little sweat from that, even if I don't feel good. And then, now here's the court. I'll shoot hoops for 20 minutes.
So you're an athlete.
Not quite on your level, very close. Don't challenge me, Aaron.
I'm not, but
I will take out just enough to beat you.
Most people in your field have very limited athletic skills.
Woody Harrelson was sitting in this chair.
Well, Woody's an athlete.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Doing this at night, Friday night. It went on for 3 hours because of this. We had to cut like 2 hours out of it. But we went and played midnight basketball at like 1 a.m. And of course we were high, which gives you, both of us are the type who get high from pot. So we had a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But for 66 years old, I covered him. I wore him like your shirt.
Lockdown.
Because he is good.
He is.
And we won those games. I was playing with a guy who can't shoot and a girl who was on my team. We still beat him.
You like the challenge. Yeah, you gave them
Because-
a good squad, right?
No, he
The
didn't
better
have a good
players.
squad either.
No.
But he was the one who would have scored, and I shut him down. We won that game on defense.
Good. I love it.
So, what else do you want to know from me about sports?
Man,
Yeah.
basketball, baseball, golf.
Yes. No, but what I was going to say is, like, I feel like in football, it is the sport, your position is the sport, like, of all the sports, of all the things you can do in sports, it is the place where you get most easily exposed and embarrassed if you're not really, really good. I mean, I have seen so many guys, you know, I'm a lifelong Giant fan. I love watching you, but sorry, that'll never happen.
It's okay.
I know it's okay. Of course it's okay.
Whatever you want.
I learned it on my father's knee, okay? I literally on my father's knee watching the New York Giants. And my father was a fan of the Giants he was born in 1921. The franchise started in 1925. So he kind of like came alive with the franchise and was always a lifelong Giant fan. When they were in the Super Bowl in '86, I flew him out here with money I did not have and bought tickets with money I did not have. Nosebleed seats, but still, we got to see him, the Giants and Phil Simms beat Elway.
It had to be a thrill for him.
Such a thrill. I feel like that, more than anything, was my thank you for raising me right and not like a fucking pussy.
It's a pretty fucking good gift.
It was a great gift.
Yeah.
And he did raise me right. There was none, you know, we were not like friends. He was my father, which is what, you know, that's where parents go wrong.
You can't do that anymore, though.
Exactly. Anyway, but point being that, like, I've seen so many guys, especially on the New York teams in recent years, just get carried out in body bags at that position. If you can't, you either are at the very, very top or you're embarrassed.
And that's why people are paying so much for a guy, because we got a guy, even if he's not like the guy or an elite guy, they gotta pay him because they know the difference between kind of the top 10, top 15 guys and the bottom.
Cigar?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Let me cut this. Is so.
the circumcision of the cigar.
Yeah.
Right?
There we go. That's a good cutter.
I call that the cigar circumcision. That is a stogie. Jesus Christ. You look like the mayor of Boston in
Trying to be.
1910.
Yeah. I think it's all about the look. You're saying you're not getting any type of feeling from this.
Right.
It's more just kind of the look and the atmosphere.
I mean, you certainly don't inhale it.
No, of course not.
See, the problem with this is I can never finish a thought. I've been trying to finish a thought. Yeah. How long have you been here? Like an hour? And that I feel like as a fan, and I am a true fan, if the game does not have two very capable quarterbacks, it's fucking boring.
Can be, yeah.
It's almost soccer.
Yeah, but I grew up watching Barry Sanders, and that was electric because every time he touched the ball, he could take it the distance. So there's certain players on certain teams where you don't need a stud quarterback, but I give it. The quarterbacks push the league forward. I mean,
not really, because I mean, a running back, if they only have the running back, they're gonna crowd the box and stop.
Well, they did that against Detroit, but Barry still rushed for 2,000 in '98.
But was each game interesting? Did the Lions go anywhere? Did they win those games?
They went to the playoffs one year. Lost to the Packers.
But see, unless I'm watching the Giants, okay. Kind of the Jets. I mean, we also rooted for the Jets. We were New Yorker. Well,
is that okay?
What? Of course.
That's okay?
I never understood that thing about
Yankees and Mets?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I gave up. I became a Met.
Some people are real territorial about that. You got to like the Giants and the Yankees. You got to like the Jets and the Mets.
No, I was a Met minority owner for 10 years. I bought into the Mets.
You got out?
Had to. Steve Cohen bought the team last year.
You had to do pretty well with that.
Very well. It's amazing
Sports franchises are going fucking nuts right now.
I knew that in 2011 when it happened. I was like, why am I doing this? There's a lot of richer people than me. I was like, oh, I'm glad I saved my pennies. I'm glad I have no alimony and children and other appurtenances that would have cost me my savings. I was able to buy a percentage of the New York Mets, a fucking comedian. And yes, it did very well. It was so undervalued. The team was valued at like $750 million. This is the New York franchise, Major League Baseball in New York. I was like, and everybody told me not to do it. I was like, you're fucking nuts.
Ooh.
My
Hope
accountant.
you defriended them. They're not invited to Club Random.
No, these were my financial advisors.
Oh, really?
Because the Mets had such a stink on them. They were being sued by the Bernie Madoff survivors because the Wilpons, who owned the team at the time, were like very in with Madoff. So it looked like the whole thing was going to shit, and the team sucked. But I was like, it's New York.
Yeah.
It's New York. It's not.
But it's a sports franchise too. I mean,
And exactly. So anyway, it sold for $2.4 billion.
good for you.
Yeah, good for me, exactly. But no, we rooted for the Mets and the Yankees and the Giants and the Jets. It was like being bisexual. You had twice the chance of a date on Saturday night. You had twice the chance that the team would win. You know, that one of your teams would get in.
The Mets won the series in '86, right? But
Yes.
haven't won it since. And the Yankees obviously have won it 20 some odd times.
2009.
Yeah.
You remind me a lot of Jeter.
That's a compliment.
It is.
Is that because I'm not married and I'm almost 40?
Well, I wasn't thinking of that, but Derek Jeter certainly did have a notable bachelorhood. I mean, there was some most valuable pussy in that guy's past. But I think in both cases, we're talking about two guys who were so, like, focused in a very controlled, unobnoxious way, unlike certain Patriot quarterbacks, and know that they couldn't really do both. That you're kind of married to your career.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, except I never retire, so I don't ever have to get married. I can do this till I'm 100. What am I doing? I'm sitting here getting high and talking. My skills are not going to erode. I might get Alzheimer's tomorrow. Or
Doubt it.
No, but
Too fucking sharp.
no, thanks. But I feel like that. Like I think you will get married, like Derek Jeter did. But you can't be married to both this sport, which is to be at the top that you guys are of this most competitive thing in the whole world. Who doesn't want to be the star quarterback in the high school? You get all the cheerleaders liking you, and you know, the money and also just the thrill of achieving something at that level, because it is mostly mental, right?
100%.
On
Especially as you get older, it's all
on your level.
Yeah, because the physical talent is so equal, you know, in the NFL, but it's the mental that separates you from good to great. I would say, you know, I think Derek would probably say the same thing, but the most important thing is balance. You know, like I think balance is so important. Being excellent at what you do has to be paired with a healthy balance of like other interests off the field, travel, separation from your sport, because to be that locked in for 6 months, you got to fucking, on the other side, be able to unwind.
So what do you do?
I mean, I live out here in Malibu.
I know, you're from California.
Yeah,
right?
I'm from California.
Yeah.
State's going to shit, but I'm hanging on.
It sure is. It sure is. I bitch about it all the time. It took me 3 years to get the solar turned on here.
Really?
Yeah, just because of the bureaucracy.
Yeah, that's bullshit. But no, I like to travel. I like to just unwind. You know, my schedule is to the minute on what I got to do for 6 months. So when I'm off, I'm off. I'm not like adherent to any type of schedule. I do exactly what I want to do. I spend time where I want to spend time. I travel when I want to travel.
What do you mean to the minute?
Like, you know, 8 o'clock, we got a meeting. 8:30, I got a workout. You know, 8:45.
This is set by the team or you?
by the team.
By the team.
Yeah. So I work out in the off season and I go through my process and stuff.
Really make, and you obviously are okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to the satisfaction of having a schedule and sticking to it. I think there's something satisfying about that. But there's also the freedom of being able to set your own schedule that gives me the mental clarity to be able to come back and fucking lock in.
I would think that at this point the team would trust you a little more than that. To have to down to the minute. I mean,
it's the NFL. We're a dinosaur. It's like it's justifying position every second of the day. Like,
is that right?
Yeah. And they've done a better job the last couple of years of trusting. If I need to be away from the team, for OTAs and stuff, I have the latitude to make sure that I'm, mentally clear, because they know when I'm back, I'm fucking back. I'm locked in.
Of course. It's like, who wants to win more than you? No one. It's like, you have not reached this point in your life yet, but you will. I was talking to a cardiologist. Nothing wrong with me. Don't worry, people. But, you just want to get checked up.
Right.
Okay. So, he was telling me this and that, and, you and I hopefully we'll get to this, but probably not, because I'll forget because I'm smoking pot. But I do want to talk about medical matters, because that's the original reason that I really connected with you, is because I'm like, oh, finally, here's a guy who's got the balls to be on my page, and he's like, finally, I have an ally out there who's sort of like just put in the water out there, people, that there is a different way to look at medicine and matters of health than just what they're telling you from up high. Anyway, we'll get to that. But so this cardiologist is telling me, this and that, and it doesn't all jive with what I believe from what I talk to many different kinds of doctors and medical experts.
As you should.
As you should. And I finally said to him, look, of all the people in the world who want me to live, I guarantee you I am at the top of the list. If you made a list, I know you have my best interest at heart,
number one.
and you want me to be on statins badly and blah, blah, blah. And I submit to that. But I'm telling you, I'm not self-sabotaging. If I don't do exactly what you say, it's because I have other information. And you don't have a monopoly on health information. No doctor does. Medicine is not that kind of field.
Mm-mm.
Anyway.
So what happened? You're on statins?
No, I won't. They're terrible for you.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
Yes. And there's plenty of the science. These people are like, this, as if there is such a thing as the science. That pisses me off right away.
Science is ever changing.
Of course, especially medical science. What they don't know is, they just found out 2 weeks ago, they were prescribing what is one of those antidepressants, or maybe all of them, because they did something with serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
And they just found out the depression had nothing to do with the serotonin. So something they were giving people forever was completely misdiagnosed. And I'm not saying they did it on purpose, although there is a lot of corruption in medicine.
Yeah.
But they just got it wrong. And they're always getting shit wrong. Again, not because, I'm not saying it's a giant plot. I'm just saying we're at the infancy of understanding how the body works. If we weren't, you could go to a doctor tomorrow and say, Doc, I'm not feeling good, need to be. Oh yeah, well you have cancer here, but we know exactly what caused it, and we know exactly how to fix it. We're not there.
Mm-mm.
We're not close.
Yeah, so just fucking admit when you're wrong.
And admit what you don't know.
Admit what you don't know. I mean, we're not fucking living on Elysium, that movie where you could go in some little, tube and get fucking healed in a heartbeat.
I just saw it.
Come on, that'd be fucking great, but that's not the reality.
Not a great movie, but
no,
it killed 2 hours.
But Matt Damon was in it, so you watch it.
Yeah, you watch it. So, but the point I was getting to was that, I would think that these people at the Packers understand that of all the people in the world who have a vested interest in winning and doing your best, you're number one. So give you a little, leeway. I mean, you have 1 day off a week, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
What day?
Tuesday.
Not Monday after the game?
No, it's actually better on Tuesday. Monday it's better to get in, get a workout, kind of get the lactic acid out, and then Tuesday have an off day. It's much better.
Wow, you're almost like Broadway.
Some teams do Mondays, but I never liked Mondays because what would happen is they would use that Monday. They'd make it so where you really didn't have a day off, because they'd say Monday, well, you got to come in and get the lactic acid out. So then everybody would come in Monday and you'd end up not having a day off.
And how do we get the lactic acid out these days?
Sweat a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It's like saunas.
Move around, sweat. Yeah. Sauna is really good for
massages.
you. There's a lot of great research about sauna. Do you have a sauna?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have an infrared sauna.
I mean, it's like something crazy. The numbers, it's exponentially higher 1 time a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week with cardiovascular disease and heart attack issues. The more times you sit in it per week, it's crazy.
All saunas, or I mean, this one I have.
You probably have the best of the best. So you might only need 1 or 2 times
I was
a week.
told you did play at a good era, because you play in an era where you can't just attack the quarterback the way they used to.
No, it's.
If you were playing in, I mean,
even the 90s.
Even the 90s,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, how they quarterbacks even survived. I mean, you wouldn't need ayahuasca. You could have what Terry Bradshaw had, just a juggled brain. It's very freeing, Aaron, to call it TBS, Terry Bradshaw syndrome, and you're just
No thanks.
you're high all the time. But would you think you'd even be playing? I don't know, because
look,
maybe you might have
like,
been knocked
I always
out.
feel like I could be a generational player. I feel like I'm a throwback to some extent. I don't wear any rib pads. I wear a single chin strap, no mouthpiece, no ankles taped. I've always prided myself.
That's what
on
everybody else
toughness.
wears?
I mean, people wear, rib pads and ankle tape and mouthpiece.
And why you
different-
don't? Because it
Because I played behind the
You
ultimate
play
tough
better.
guy.
What?
I played behind the ultimate tough guy,
Who?
Brett Favre. He started 300 plus straight games, and he taped his ankles, but that's single strap, chin strap, no mouthpiece, no rib pads. So I said, shit, if this guy does it, I got to do it.
Wow.
I got no choice. This is what toughness looks like. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Oh, jeez. So macho, Aaron. Jesus Christ. Take a chill pill. Who gives a shit what Brett Favre did? I mean, he was great, but he also, he was much more, I feel like I feel like he won a lot of games, and he also lost a lot with his sort of recklessness. Where I don't think that's you. I don't think you.
Yeah, I don't have the reckless streak.
You don't. And that's a very important part of that position, I feel.
I think so.
Remember when he was on the Jets, more than one time, being like, oh, fuck you, Brett Favre. What did you do that for?
He'd like to take some chances, man. He liked to take a lot of chances.
Yeah, he was a good
That's
old...
why people loved him, because he played on the edge, but
So you were, right, you were like a rookie when he
3
was
years.
still...
I was
3
3 years with him.
You were his
Yeah.
understudy.
yeah.
That must have been tough.
It was interesting.
To sit, right?
Yeah,
You're
it
not a
was.
sit guy.
No, it was definitely an ego hit for sure, because you think you're coming in, I'm the fucking man, I'm going to play right away, and blah, 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 and kind of... But the best thing was I got to see what greatness was firsthand, so,
Yeah.
not many quarterbacks had to come in and kind of have that tutorial.
I remember...
From a guy who can really fucking play.
I don't know why I remember this, because I often think, why do you remember certain things that seem trivial, and then remember, and then forget, like, I forget, like, fucking whole swaths of time, and like,
Really?
things. Of course. You don't remember everything, you're disc full, you don't.
That's true, yeah.
So, it's like so, it just seems so idiosyncratic, like what thing sticks in my mind. But I remember at a Playboy Mansion party, it was probably around...
Good start to the story.
What year was your rookie year?
05.
Okay, so this must have been like 04, 05. And
Was I there?
You were not there. Cato Kalin,
Packer fan.
son of Wisconsin,
Yeah.
huge Packer fan, telling a group of guys who should have been talking to girls who were talking about football, and he was saying, we have this guy coming up, Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be, and he just went on and on. And we were like, we never heard of him, Aaron Rodgers, and it was, okay, of course you're a Packer
Look at
fan.
Cato give me a shout out at the Playboy Man.
And predicted it right. He was like, this guy is going to be one of the all-time greats. And we were like, we'll see.
Yeah.
They said that about everybody.
Yeah.
I
love it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cato.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you ever run into him, I'm sure
I've never run into him, but I think he follows me on Twitter.
I'm sure he does.
And I always thought that was
I'm
fascinating
sure.
at first, and then I was like,
Trust me, he'd
Cato
suck your
Kalin.
dick in 2 seconds if you it wouldn't. You would not have to ask twice. But yeah, when I had Ricky Williams, this may be one of his joints, by the way. What? Ricky
really?
Williams is in the pot business.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes are.
How crazy that
Mike
basically
Tyson?
that ruined his career. We're talking, a plant ruined his career. Marijuana ruined Ricky Williams' career because he got suspended and
right.
basically kicked out of the league for smoking.
Speaking of what we were just speaking of, pharmaceuticals, and the NFL being dictatorial. Here's a guy who he had, as I'm kind of, this is also like 2005, right? Did you ever play with him or against him?
Against him, yeah.
Really? He was still in the league?
He was in Miami in 06, I think.
Okay, but that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so and he had mental issues. He's a very smart guy. He was
like depression or something?
Yes, and anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah.
And I think paranoia.
Yeah.
I mean, he thought every Sunday a bunch of big guys were chasing him. No. No. Oh, I love pot. No, he did. He had paranoia.
Yeah.
And he had anxiety. And pot was great for all of this. For him.
For a lot of people.
For a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this is so like a recapitulation of what we've seen with COVID recently. It's like, no, the government stepped in, the powers that be, the people who think they have the science, and said, no, Ricky Williams, you can't do the thing that works for you, that you know works for you.
Yeah.
You have to do the pharmaceutical version of it. And Ricky was like, I don't want to do the pharmaceutical version. It doesn't work as good and it's worse for me. This is like when people were dying from Vioxx.
Which was distributed super widely. And then recalled.
You're talking about Vioxx?
Yeah. And then they got sued and they paid out $5 billion, but they made $12 billion.
Vioxx relieves the pain of arthritis by killing you.
There was 5 figures of people that died. Like 50, 60,000 people that died.
How many?
50 or 60,000, I believe. We talked about on Rogan's podcast about Vioxx. When I was in college, everybody was on Vioxx. All my teammates were on Vioxx.
50,000 people?
I think something like that.
From Vioxx?
Maybe they'll fact check me. Those amazing fact checkers.
Okay, so let's just be clear about that. We're not saying we know for sure it's that number. It's not, which is fine.
Rogan said on the podcast last week it was 50 or 60,000.
Okay, but I'm not sure about that either. I've never seen that number, and it could be. But if it is, I'll say this: if that number is that high, it's kind of a scandal that the media didn't cover it more. Because I remember the media covering it, but that's an astounding number. I mean, when opioids, which kill more than that every year, but the Sackler family, who run the drug company that put out OxyContin, they have been held accountable now. Not as much. They should be.
Have they?
Well, they should be. Many people would say not enough because they should be in jail for what they did.
They should be in jail if they knew that it was possible.
This was the trial that we just had. This is that great movie, Dope Sick, is about that with Michael Keaton. That series, I think it's on one of the streaming services. Anyway, they have been made to pay a multi-billion-dollar fine. It wasn't just a slap on the wrist, but I don't think it was commensurate with what they did. The thing, that I emailed you the other day about what I did Friday night, I had on 2 people I like a lot, Senator Klobuchar and Rob Reiner, but they were very happy about Joe Biden just passing this new, and I think it's a good bill in general, that, and part of it is that finally we're going to allow, how we didn't do this forever, I don't know, but we were finally going to allow in this law drug companies, the government rather, to negotiate with the drug companies for Medicare, the prices that Medicare is the biggest buyer in the world, and they're not getting a wholesale price on that. That's what's been going on. And Obama tried to get that, couldn't get it. Even Trump wanted to get that. Now the government can negotiate for lower prices with Medicare.
Novel.
I said, all right, so the drug companies were evil for withholding that for this long, and they were like, oh yes, drug companies evil.
What?
And And they're evil because they fucking sold people these opioids and killed hundreds of thousands of people. Yes, evil. But somehow with COVID, they always have our best interests at heart. And of course, there's not much they could say about that. Because it just doesn't make sense.
It's the fucking truth, though.
It is the truth.
That's my problem with society today is why does everything have to be so fucking bipartisan? Like, every issue is not a partisan issue. There's right and there's wrong. There's things that make sense and things that don't make sense.
Medicine.
You don't have to fucking toe the line on what your party's saying to, and that's the only stance you can take, right? Can you not rationally have a conversation about things that make sense and be able to not be swayed by whether you vote red or blue?
Not in America anymore, no. You can't. And to me, the ultimate issue that should not be political or partisan is medicine.
Health. Yeah.
What is more personal than what you do you to how you want to treat your body. Now, if the argument is, well, if you don't do our pharmaceutical answer, then you're going to risk other people's lives. First of all, that's not true. That's a red herring argument. I mean, maybe that's true with other things at other times, or with this before they knew that the vaccine does not prevent infection and does not prevent transferal. So now that we know it doesn't do either one of those things, it shouldn't matter what I do.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so that's first. But beyond that, what could be more personal than how I choose to treat my body? I mean, like Djokovic can't play. It's so annoying to me. I'm watching the U.S. Open now.
Yeah, last night, Serena.
Oh, I didn't see. She won?
She lost last night.
Oh well.
But the best fucking player in the men's
Right.
side can't play.
And
They're one of the most fit guys in the fucking world.
that's the
Who's
point.
had COVID at least once, if not twice.
It is
Can't fucking come to New York.
is a complete compendium of what a Potemkin village, this whole arsenal of nonsense they've thrown at this disease is.
You know what's even worse than that, though? Kyrie Irving attended a basketball game, courtside, but couldn't play for his team.
Right.
How is that fucking possible?
Well, also,
He attended a basketball game and got to watch it in the stands, but couldn't fucking play on his team because he wasn't vaxxed?
I mean,
Make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. Make it make sense. You can't.
he also was able to play on the road with his team.
Eventually.
No, from the beginning.
Yeah, from
At the
beginning.
end, he was able to play at home.
But they
also.
wouldn't let him play.
No, not at home.
No, they wouldn't. He wouldn't play.
Oh, right, but that was the team's decision.
Yeah.
But they changed. First, he couldn't. First, they
Science
said
changed, I'm sure.
what?
Science changed.
Not that science. But no, at first he could not play, or they wouldn't.
They couldn't play at home. Yeah. Or in Canada.
The rule was he couldn't play at home, but he could play on the road. But the team said, if we can't play one place, we don't want you anywhere.
Right.
Then they changed and said, okay, you know what? We're not doing so good. Why don't you play
got
on
a bunch
the
of guys hurt.
road games?
Yeah.
But at the same time, people who were not vaccinated on other teams could somehow play in his arena. I think Bradley Beal of the Wizards was not vaccinated and played. It was as stupid as it is to sit at a restaurant and take your mask off and then put it on when you stand up, as if the virus only attacks you when you're standing.
You got to put it back on in between bites.
I've seen people do it. I
have
swear
too.
to God,
I have
seen
too.
people. I've seen people have dinner.
But
And-
you know what? Fuck it. It's your decision. That's what you want to do? That's
Right.
what makes you feel safe? Fucking go for it.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yes, just
Go
don't.
for it. But don't fucking put your shit
No.
onto me.
But especially,
Like I got to acquiesce to exactly what you want. Otherwise, I'm endangering you. That was the whole thing about me. I'm endangering all these people. I fucking tested every goddamn morning at 6:45 in the morning to make sure everybody else felt safe in the building.
safe. Again, this fucking sort of world of imagineering that I have to live in with this. Safe. I hear this all the time. Safetyism. It's just everywhere around me. People who don't feel safe. Safe. I remember when the Dodgers won the 2020 series, and then, of course, after you win, you have to jump in a big pile because you guys are basically gay. So, I mean, it's okay. We all understand that. You got to jump in a big pile after you win and grope each other. It's fine. And then Justin Turner. Remember him? Mm-hmm. You know him? The redheaded, terrific third baseman for the Dodgers. Okay. He had tested positive. They found out like during the game or something. So he couldn't play in that game or was pulled or something. He jumps in the pile. And the media went apeshit about this for a full week. And then we heard the tragic news. A week later, Clayton Kershaw dead at 32. Oh no, that didn't happen. Nothing happened. Nothing fucking happened. That's what happened. Because, again, these are fit, healthy, young people. They are not going to go the way of the grave from COVID. Of course, anything could happen to anyone. There are always outliers. There's 1 in a million things. But the idea that we did not protect the vulnerable, specifically target them, as they did more in some states. Because even Bill Gates said, we found out later that this wasn't, he said, it wasn't that virulent a pathogen. And he said, he compared it to the flu. He said it's somewhat different, and it is somewhat different, but it basically targets the elderly, like the flu does. So to freak out that Justin Turner, or there are colleges, these woke colleges that are out of their mind. We're talking about the people who were never going to die from this, 22-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and they are masking outside at my alma mater, Cornell. They have to wear masks outside. They get their meals left at the door.
They're masking at Berkeley this fall.
Oh, I'm sure Berkeley, of course. And this is all this is ideology. This is not medicine. This is indoctrination. And to me, the frightening thing was never the disease itself. The frightening thing was how much you could get people so quickly to change their way of life. Stay home, wear a mask, don't touch.
It was altruistic at first. It's like, all right, we'll take 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? And then just about every conspiracy theory came true. Vaccine mandates, vaccine passports.
Right.
And it turned into away from doing your job to stop the spread to lockdowns. And that's my whole problem. I grew up in a small town, very little cases up in Chico, California, but all the small businesses fucking gone. I mean, our favorite restaurants in LA and New York and across the country, not just in big cities. Look, some crazy percentage will never open again. Why?
Absolutely.
And then what are we doing for them? What are we doing for the small businesses? There was some PPE loans and stuff that people could file for.
Well, we passed out $6 trillion. And the sad fact about that is that a very big chunk of it was just flat out stolen.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent more to keep people hiding under the bed than we did for World War II. World War II cost $4 trillion, and we passed out almost $6 trillion for this. I mean, wow. Talk about a country that's gone a little soft. Things I see in my daily life that remind me that I don't see medicine the way everyone else does, but I see it the way a lot of other doctors do. I mean, we can pretend that only MDs know about medicine. It's a ridiculous pretension. It's not true. But let's pretend that, because I don't want to have that fight this day. But just among MDs, if we're just talking among MDs, they disagree with each other. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of MDs that you can read, see on Twitter, the ones who haven't been canceled or somehow shoved off it. You certainly won't see them on TV many times because they won't let them anywhere. They will let them on Fox News, and then they get tagged as a conservative. No, they're not a conservative. They're a doctor. It's just that Fox News is the only place that will let them speak. So why are your doctors, meaning Fauci's and those people, why are your doctors better than these doctors? There's thousands of doctors who signed that Barrington letter which basically was, reasonable, esteemed, knowledgeable, credited MDs who said
Published.
Of course, published and practicing, and who said
And
basically,
seeing patients.
of course, yes, and
Not like some of the people.
right, who were bureaucrats,
Yeah.
right, yes, and they just basically said, look, lockdowns are, look, of course, we had to at certain point, if the hospitals are being overrun, I agree. If a hospital is being overrun, you have to take some kind of draconian measures. Not these necessarily, but yes. That didn't last that long, and at a certain point it was, what happened to herd immunity? We were told, at a certain point, X number of people will get it, and then we can just forget about this whole thing. Well, that seemed to have come and gone, herd immunity, and we're still fucking freaking. They're still talking about, now they want another booster that's a hybrid of the Omicron, and I don't need it. I had it. They made me get one. Okay, I got one. I didn't get it for 14 months when I was unvaccinated. Somehow I got it 3 weeks after I got vaccinated. Okay. I'm not saying there's a causal there. What I'm saying is there could be.
Might be.
I don't know, and you don't know either. You don't know. Certainly I've heard anecdotally a lot of people who say the same thing. Now, it also could be the case that because I had the vaccine, that when I then got COVID, it was almost imperceptible. I barely knew I had it. I lost my smell for a couple of days, had a little stuffy nose. If there wasn't this paranoia about COVID, I would have just gone to work and said, well, I feel a little down.
But Bill, the whole problem with the COVID thing is the only way they got to get emergency authorization use was if there was no other therapeutic options. And there were plenty of therapeutic options because many doctors were giving out doses of a lot of medicine that actually worked that was suppressed and canceled and kicked off of social media platforms. Demonized.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
No,
they demonized ivermectin, which the creator, the guy that made it, won a fucking Nobel Prize. They're giving out billions of doses. It worked in Japan. It worked in Uttar Pradesh. It worked in Mexico. But to mention it in the States, oh, you're a fucking conspiracy theorist taking horse dewormer.
Horse, yes.
It's like,
yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, to me, that speaks to the bankruptcy of the media, because once they heard horse, they were like a writer's room at a comedy show. Oh, we got a premise now. Oh, we can just hang that horse. Horse is fun. Anything with a horse is always going to be funny. Horse cock. Catherine the Great got fucked by a horse. Horses are just funny. So they were just going to so they just hit and I'm talking about the serious people on MSNBC. These very serious people. Horse. It's like, yes, horses use it. There's lots of medicines that cross over between.
Lots of medicine that are animal and human.
Yes, right. I was just taking ketamine yesterday. No.
Good for you.
Is it? There's one of those that is a tranquilizer. They say it's the thing that Bill Cosby used. Bill Cosby got a...
GHB, right?
No, I don't think it's GHB. It could be. I don't know. Fact check, but I don't know. But I think it was I thought it was ketamine, but I could be wrong about that too. But I remember reading that Bill Cosby got himself a vet license, a veterinarian's license. And I think it was so he could buy stuff that he was knocking women out with.
It's awful.
It is so awful. I mean, to think, when you ponder, how the complexity of the human being, that he could be this brilliant comedian and America's dad, and so good at his
kids say the darndest things.
Right. Craft. Yeah. And then be this monster. But I mean, that's why that guy wrote Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
That's the human nature. What are your demons, Aron Rodgers?
Plant medicine, I guess, as far as where they want to cancel me on lately.
You're fine.
But not how many people have OD on weed?
Certainly none at my bathhouse. Other guys seem
plants are here. Plants can be used as medicine, just like diet can be used as medicine.
All
the food you eat.
Sweetheart, all medicine comes from plants. Do you know how they make antibiotics?
How?
They go into the jungle, which they're destroying, so we're not going to have antibiotics, which is horrible. Not that I like antibiotics. I hate them, but sometimes you need them. Okay. They go into the jungle, and they find what kills what. Mm-hmm. Isn't that fascinating? Mm. Like and then they synthesize those things. Like there's something that, because like fungus, for example, is everywhere. Fungus could take over the world. When there's an earthquake, people die sometimes because the fungus comes up from the ground and, it's very poisonous. There's nothing more antifungal, acidic than a lemon. But if you leave a lemon out for a week, it'll have fungus on it. That's how, and everybody has a fungal infection who's ever been on antibiotics, because when you take antibiotics, you know this.
I do.
I know. This is the kind of stuff that is important to us, that I think validates our view about this other stuff. But other people, I think, just don't want to, they just listen to what the doctor says, the guy in the white coat. So, because I've had this discussion with many people, and they're like surprised to hear that there's like a downside to antibiotics. Like that.
What?
No, really. That to them is news. Like they just think antibiotics, great. I felt shitty and the doctor gave me antibiotics and it fixed that. They're a miracle, and they are a miracle.
Yeah, there's some great antibiotics. I had MRSA, and I got antibiotics was great for me when I had MRSA.
Well, they do the job they're supposed to do generally.
Yeah.
The problem is they also kill a lot of things that are good.
A lot of good stuff. Yeah.
And if you have to do a lot of them, or overdo them, as we have done in society, you create a number of seriously deleterious health issues and problems.
Well, unless we take it back and start using plant medicine.
But it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
What do you think?
Synthetic compared to plant?
No, but the
plants aren't killing
origin is
anybody.
the plant.
I get it, but plants aren't killing anybody, because it's not just a plant. It's not just a plant that you're taking
No,
antibiotic.
well,
I take a Motrin, to anti-inflame, to take out the inflammation in my knee, but it's fucking with my liver.
Exactly.
I take curcumin, which comes from turmeric.
Right.
I'm not fucking up my
Right.
liver.
Correct. I mean, that's my view.
Well, if the government didn't say it, then it can't be true.
But if you, whenever they say misinformation, I always want to go, whose, ours or yours?
Yeah.
Because you had a lot. Or even the things that just people do that I just don't like. I see them with the hand sanitizer. Okay, talking about antibiotic, that's what that is. And when you put something on your skin, it absorbs into your body. Not at the level of course, if you drank it, but I don't want to put hand sanitizer. I don't want to put an antibiotic on my skin all day long. You need to live in an atmosphere of germs. It's actually...
That's how you build your immune system.
It's healthier. Yes. And of course, the reason...
It seems rational and sensical.
I'm telling you, some of this stuff, which, because it's important to us, it's just mind-blowing to other people, only because the like you're saying, the media and the medical industrial complex has
Which it is.
What?
Which it is. It is a medical industrial complex.
Yes. They have a vested interest in basically making the competition, which would be turmeric as opposed to Motrin. That's the competition. Pot was the competition to liquor. I split the difference
CBD and
yes,
anything. And we know the healing powers of CBD.
You said you took antibiotics for your MRSA.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a perfect example. You didn't want to. Garlic was not going to fix that, right?
I felt good about taking the antibiotics. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a nuclear option.
Yeah.
It's like if you really have to go there. That's why I'm saying I'm glad we have antibiotics. Just like
I am too,
glad.
yeah.
Just like I'm glad I have a gun, but I don't want to ever use it.
Right.
But if I have to,
Yeah.
I will. If you get out of line. You're at Club Random. I got it right here, Aron.
I got some too in Wisconsin.
I'd hate to kill you right before the season. right with the. Come on, you must have some butterflies. You'd be on the field in a week on the old gridiron, tossing the old pigskin.
Of course. I mean, you don't. You're not fucking human. You know. I think the sports world wants robots. You know. That's why I'm an anomaly because I just fucking speak my mind.
And
they want robots for the most part.
You're
right?
doing it so right. Do you know that they cover you on TMZ, like, on a weekly basis? That means they're covering you like a celebrity. And that's how they should. And that's where, I mean, you're not going to be able to play forever.
No.
Right. I mean, you know, there's a clock.
I'm not going to want to play forever. But
Really?
It's going to be time to...
You wouldn't want to if you could?
No.
Because the too onerous, the part of it that's like the 6 months of drudgery. And
there's just other things that I'm interested in. I enjoy doing, you know, like football has given me a ton of things. Unbelievable wealth, platform, opportunity,
yes,
friendships, memories, but at some point the ride ends, you know, and you got to do something else.
And winning. You know, I remember when, it's funny, our lives are so juxtaposed because your thing that you're great at comes early because you're an athlete. I didn't get politically incorrect until I was the age you are now. Like I was just starting. But like I say, I could go to 100 doing this.
You should.
Because it's the opposite, right?
And you should.
Right. Thank you. But
if not you, who? I mean, seriously, we need fucking voices of reason. And you've always been.
Well,
you've always been.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going anywhere. But what I'm getting to is that, just the idea that you can be at the top of your game is that's when you can walk away because you're like, I had this dream, I had this goal, I wanted to do this thing, I got to be the top of the game. You know, in your case, it's like, oh, I've been the MVP 2 years in a row, and before that, I won the Super Bowl. You know, that makes it okay. I could walk away now. I don't want to, but good, because I got to I wanted to perfect this thing that I can do, and I did. And now it's fun to live in it and keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I could stop. Whereas if I had to do it before I got there, it would have gnawed at me for the rest of my life. And that's where you are.
But I guarantee you feel the same way. There's some part in us when you reach a level of success where you don't want to go out a bum either. You know, you don't want to go out on the downturn, right? I'm still really good. I can still play.
Yeah, I would say those.
I don't want to be a washed up, you know, hanging on type of guy. That's just not. I'm a fucking competitor, you know.
Right.
And I know you're competitive too, because you have to be, right?
No, I think another thing we have in common is I think we both have a chip on our shoulder. Yours is from they didn't you weren't drafted.
I got a few. Yeah, there's been a few over the years.
But but they're good. Mine is from they won't give me Emmys, or because the woke doesn't like me because the reason the fans like me is why the woke don't like me. So they are the ones who vote on that kind of shit. Years ago I stopped caring that much. Can you prod me and get me to care about it? Yes, if you Bill, it's Emmy Day, and yes, you could, but it doesn't. I don't care 364 days a year. But that's where mine comes from. Is okay, plainly, a lot of people think that if we did by the criteria that I think would matter for voting on something courage, originality, actually being funny, I think we would have won 35 Emmys.
For sure.
It's okay. If that's the cross to bear I have in life, it's a light one as crosses go. But that chip that it kind of puts on your shoulder, I'm going to embarrass you for not giving it. It's not really on me anymore. You should be embarrassed. And I think you have the same fucking thing. You didn't draft me. I'm going to make you feel very, very bad about that. And you already have.
I have. And I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can.
That's right.
But I tell you what, I guarantee you feel the same way. As much as, and I won the MVP the last 2 years, so thankfully I've got enough votes to do that. But the most important opinions about my play is from my contemporaries, from the players I play against, from the coaches that coach against me.
They know.
They know. They know.
They do.
They know if you're going to prepare
Oh,
against us, it's going to be a fucking rough time.
of course.
And they know, I don't know who's winning Emmys in your category, but like when you're talking about the dude that you would watch a show,
Right.
if he was on and you had 5 options, it'd be fucking you.
Thank you.
But it's the truth.
I know, but
Because
and
your level of like,
it is.
your level of aptitude and intelligence and conversation is just so far. I don't even know who's in your fucking category.
Well, let's.
But like, if I'm gonna watch a show,
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna fucking turn into
Right,
like
and-
a late
and-
night show. I'm
and-
gonna fucking
and-
watch
Yeah.
real time.
And
No, I'm not just bullshitting.
I know. I
seriously,
understand.
and
I appreciate it.
and I don't watch a lot of TV. But
I
like
know.
if I wanna get a good conversation,
Yeah.
and here's somebody who knows how to fucking like handle a conversation and be intelligent and be interesting. But that's the
Well-
only opinion that matters. Right? It's your contemporaries, not some random group of people. Like we know, like and we're
For me,
living in
it's-
this area. Like who votes on the fucking Academy Awards? Like what do you gotta how you gotta like get nominated for those type of things?
Well, see,
Who you gotta take out to dinner for those? Type
Right.
of things? Like, come on, like we know how this town
and
works.
see, like here's
You've
the,
lived here a lot longer than I have, but I know.
Right.
And I've
Oh,
only
I
been
know.
there for 10 years.
Oh, I know. And I'm telling you, TMZ covers you like you're in show business, which you are. But see, here's one thing that always did bug me a little when people talk about winning an award, and they compare it to, you want ice?
I got some. Yeah, I picked up that one earlier. It's like, no, I don't.
They compare winning an award to winning a sports, the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I'm like, stop doing that. It's okay. It's okay that you are doing what you're doing, but don't make that comparison. Because when you win an award, you didn't win it. It's the opinion of like 10 people who got a tape of one show of each of the people who got nominated, and who gets nominated, that's just another virtue signaling exercise.
Exactly.
Okay, and then, so it's like, it's an opinion. If you remember Kanye West at the Grammys, like or at the VMAs or whatever, when he went up on stage and said, Taylor Swift, I'm gonna let you finish,
Yeah.
but
Beyonce had the best video.
yeah, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had the best. Okay, that just showed it's people's opinion. But it's not an opinion. If you win the Super Bowl, you actually beat the other team.
Yeah.
That's why the ESPYs are the stupidest award show ever, because we don't need an award show about sports. We have the actual winners. And now for best football team, yes, the team that won the Super Bowl is the best football team. That's why we watch sports, because
No
it
more
is
ESPYs. It's done now. ESPYs is done now.
what?
The ESPYs is done. We're not
Yeah.
doing it anymore after this.
Don't I have a
I'm
point?
with you, yeah.
I have a point.
Best MLB team. Who won the World Series? All right, write them in.
It's
yeah.
just,
Best hockey team. Who
by
won
the,
the Stanley
by the
Cup?
way, did I, speaking of show business, and did I dream this, or were you like trying to be the host of Jeopardy?
I was.
Why the fuck would you want to do that?
I watched the show growing up. It's very nostalgic for me. I used to watch with my grandparents. I loved the show. And they offered it up to... I was on it one time, Celebrity Jeopardy, and
Me
won.
too.
Won my... Did you win?
No.
Why not?
I was probably all
Were you up
right.
against...
It was the 90s.
Were you up against Cheech?
I remember the network got mad at the shirt I wore. I probably came right from a club. It was like a club shirt. They thought it was very inappropriate for the host of Politically Incorrect to be wearing. No, I did not do well. I thought the buzzer was I felt like I knew some answers, but like I couldn't get
It's all timing. You got to wait until that white light goes on. Then.
Whatever.
Anyway, I wanted to... Yeah.
Come
Alex
on.
passed away, and I wanted to... Well, I thought it made sense. I'm still an active player. I could film in the off season. I love the show. I mean, I watched it religiously for years.
I gotta say, I think you could do better. I really do. I just gotta be your friend here right now and be like, there's a famous Mary Tyler Moore episode where Ted Baxter wants to host a game show, and Lou Grant humiliates it. Ted, you want to be a quiz master? Is that what you want to be, Aron? A quiz master?
I thought I've followed a legend before. I thought I could pull it off. But,
Well, you could pull it off. That's what I'm saying.
but the show is really geared to Middle America.
It's geared to, well, first of all, I'm thrilled the show is on. It's one of the last vestiges of our quote-unquote culture that caters to a thinking mind. It's about knowing things. Knowing things is very out of fashion right now. Kids don't know anything. I mean, they used to know one thing. They don't know math, they don't know science, they definitely don't know history. They certainly don't know civics, which is how government works. That's why we're in such trouble with our government. It's like, the democracy is failing, and they're like, what's democracy? Like, we won't have the checks and balance. What's that mean? How can you get people to learn about democracy if they don't know what the fuck it is? So I'm glad Jeopardy exists, because it is for those last few people on Earth who care about knowing shit. You're still a quiz master. I mean, fuck. I mean, come on, man. You got the answers right in your hand.
I get it. Okay, yeah.
You got the answers.
Yes.
It's I don't see for a guy who was so jacked on the adrenaline of the ultimate challenge, I gotta fucking freeze to safety and then hit this guy exactly in a postage stamp size square of a window with 2 seconds left in the game and this guy rushing at me. And now you're just gonna be like, the capital of Bosnia is? It's like, that's I mean, come on, man. You're gonna get the bends from the challenges. I think you could do a little, I saw you on TMZ wearing the outfit from Nick Cage wore in, what was that?
Con Air.
Why, is that your favorite movie?
No, but I love, I'm a big fan of Nick Cage and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I love movie stars.
Yeah.
I was just watching Top Gun.
Maverick?
Yes.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the militarism is not thrilling to me. The glorification of wasting jet fuel. We're wasting a lot of jet fuel. I'm a guy who believes that we could cut the defense budget in half.
No. How would we police the world then?
You had me first. I thought you were serious, and then, right, exactly. And we still could, by the way, with half. I mean, we spend.
Of course, we spend more than the 2 through 25, don't we?
Yes. Well, I don't know. Again, fact check, but we do spend more. Our defense budget is more than the next 9 or 10 countries combined, many of which are allies.
Yeah.
And when people say defense, what they really should be saying is defense contractor. Yeah. That's who's getting all the money. And we are creating many
Or neo and, colonialism.
What's this?
Or colonialism, imperialism. That's what it is.
Well, I don't think, you think we're imperialist now?
I mean, it doesn't look the same as it did maybe in the 1800s.
Where are we being imperialistic?
We're in every country surrounding Russia, and how many countries around the world?
Well, we're certainly not in every country surrounding Russia, but
everyone but Ukraine.
Well, we have troops in Germany, which is not border.
Well, NATO, every country that borders Russia other than Ukraine is NATO.
Well, not in Asia. Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, those countries are not NATO. Either are the Caspian countries, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Armenia, those are not NATO. Yes, look, I have made the case on my show that I think we should not have expanded NATO to their borders. A lot of people said that.
But that goes that goes back to the 40s, and when FDR passed away, there was something in place to divide Germany a certain way that FDR had talked to Stalin and Churchill about. And then FDR passes away, Truman gets in office, drops the bomb, and the world gets destabilized from that point.
Well, after World War II, yes, we did divide the world with the Soviet Union, because otherwise, look, both sides were...
But they went from an ally to an enemy.
Of course, for good reason. They were a communist menace and a monolith, and they were headstrong to take over the world. Stalin wanted to take over the world. Communism wanted to take over the world, and communism Reagan was right about one thing. It is evil. Communism is a horrible system. And it imprisoned millions and millions of people and made their lives miserable. And
It doesn't work?
Probably does not work. Probably killed 100 million people. I mean,
For sure.
yes, communism.
Yeah.
So, yes,
And
the
still
world
does.
in
China.
But China, even China and Russia, the two monoliths of communism, finally gave up on it. Russia formally. I mean, China says they're still a communist country, but they're not. They're a capitalist country. That's why they're doing so well.
Yeah.
They have a communist dictatorship government, but what they did was they lifted the economic strictures of communism. That's why China is a powerhouse today, but they kept the dictatorship part. And people said at the time, oh, they can't do that. You'll never be able to do that. You can't keep the dictatorship part. No, actually you can. You can buy off the people because the people became more middle class. They were doing well. They had a TV now and a car and air conditioning, and they were like, yeah, I can't speak freely, but you know what? I like the car.
Make them happy, keep them distracted.
It's not something that hasn't been done here too.
Yep.
So your politics obviously are not very conservative. But I never thought they were. The reason why people say conservative is anytime you get outside the box, including medically, you know, if I don't want to use hand sanitizer or I want to make up my own mind about how many boosters I want to get, 0. Somehow that makes me a conservative. It doesn't make me a conservative.
No.
I mean,
No.
and look, I mean, I imagine
I was championed by the right by my back status, and I'm like, I was getting weekly requests to go on Fox News. I'm like, I don't fucking go on Fox News. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of any politics at all.
right,
I believe what I believe.
right,
Most of it I based on my own personal version of common sense,
and
I don't believe in partisanship. Partisanship, two-party system has fucking ruined this country.
George Washington predicted that.
Yeah.
George Washington said we can never have parties. Amazing how some people can be so foresighted and prescient. He foresaw that if we had parties, two parties, it would get to this point where they became the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Russia's not the enemy anymore to Republicans. It used to be Russia was the greatest enemy in the world. Now it's the Democrats. And I'll tell you something else. It's interesting. I think there are so many more people who agree with us because you would not have won the MVP.
No chance.
Wait, if people really thought that your stance, I thought courageous stance on, let's call it medical independence, was so outrageous. If you had said, I voted for Trump, I bet you would not have won that MVP.
I would not have.
Right. So it just says that what we believe about medicine is not that outrageous and not that uncommon, because I think otherwise you never would have still got voted MVP.
And that's what I found. The silent majority was so strong.
Right.
The first 48 hours, I felt alone and low and abandoned.
And then
you emailed
And then I emailed
and
you,
then
and the sun shone
the
again.
sun shone.
It's okay, Aaron. I get
And
it.
all was right in the world. But it's true. It's true. You can have certain opinions
Right.
and not make it, like agreeing, voting for Trump. But
Right. And
but I think there's a lot of people that believe that you should have your own decision making on your own medical decisions. My thing is, I have an issue with the hypocrisy in society in general. I know you do as well, but abortion's been a hot topic, right? And especially after Roe v. Wade got overturned and sent back to the states or whatever, I don't believe the government should have any control over what we do with our bodies.
No.
So
of course
as
not.
much as I might lean more pro-life, I don't want the government telling me I can't smoke a cigar, I can't have a drink of alcohol, I can't choose my own medical decisions, and if I'm a woman, don't fucking tell me what to do. Like, whether or not I agree with what you decide to do, who cares? And government should not have a decision that infringes upon my own personal freedoms.
I agree with all that. My thing is, but just don't say to the pro-life people, you're doing it because you hate women. Because that's what I hear all the time. You're doing it because you hate women. They don't hate women. They just think it's murder. And I get that. I personally don't, because I personally don't think life is always precious. I don't think people who are alive now necessarily are living a life that's precious. If you picture some guy who's on death row and he's committed horrendous crimes, grisly crimes, murdered his family, axe murdering children. Let me go on.
Keep going.
Okay, and
What else has he done?
sex with children, just horrible, horrible things, skull fucking. Okay, so now this guy's on death row, right? And he's in solitary, and he'll never get out. Is that life really precious? I mean, it just doesn't break my heart that we would have the death penalty for somebody like that. I think we're almost doing him a favor. You're just keeping something alive. It's almost cruel. So I don't think life is, and if the unborn, like, yeah, I get these people, like, it's murder. Yeah, it's undeniably becoming a life. That's why it's such a gray area. It's not a life, but it's undeniably would be. I just don't care. It's like, if you're not born, I'm sorry, we're not going to miss you. How could we? We never met you. And you're not going to miss us because you didn't meet us.
Right.
You know? So, but I get their thing. I totally do. I think it's kind of like me with animals. You know, I'm a PETA person. It's just innate in me. I love animals. I can watch a movie where people are being horribly mistreated. It doesn't make me cry. I can't watch 2 seconds of, you know, Bambi. I wouldn't even
The Cove.
I wouldn't even watch King.
Blackfish.
No, won't see it. I won't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even watch King Kong or Planet of the Apes because it looks like animals are being hurt. Even the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, I don't want to see hurt. I don't know. It's just innate, and I think it's like that with them with babies. They just have a thing with babies. I fucking hate babies. I mean, I would always help one if they were needed it, unless I had to touch it. But they just have a thing with babies, and they think it's murder, and they're like, just because you have a vagina, you can't commit murder. That's their view. Okay, so I feel like this abortion thing has to begin with stop insulting them about that. Just accept this difference. I know people who I'm very friendly with, and I know we are on the opposite sides on abortion. We just don't talk about it. I'm not going to convince you. You're not going to convince me. And we're not going to have a baby together. So, you know, we don't really need to we don't need to fucking discuss it, you know?
But that's the problem with society. You can't have different opinions anymore. Like, you and I might have
You cannot.
50 topics we could talk about, and half of them we might agree on 100%, half of them we might not. And that's fucking okay.
It's totally okay.
And it's actually great.
It's good, exactly.
It's fucking the best thing ever.
And
why would you want to surround yourself with a fucking echo chamber of people who just repeat, regurgitate the same shit back to you that you believe in? Where's the fun in that? But that's what social media's become. That's what our TV programs have become.
It's funny. That's what people have become, because sometimes I will have a guest on, usually, you know, from the left, who I generally agree, or certainly often less than I used to, because they went crazier than they used to, but I didn't.
They got woke.
Yeah, they got woke. But like a person who's like, and I will think, oh, this was not such a good guess, because they were just about talking points, like Democratic talking points. It was predictable, it was boring, it was in the box. And then I will hear from people over the weekend after the show airs that some agree with me, and then I will hear from other people who were like, the fact that it was boring, predictable, in the box, and talking points is what they loved about it. That's what I hated, that's what they fucking loved. And that's what makes me go, oh, this is a hard country to turn this battleship around in the river, because that's what you're working with. People who just want to hear what they already know and what's in there. They just want to be reaffirmed in their echo chamber. They don't want to be challenged. What I find boring and just hateful, they find great. and that's the other cross I have to bear. But, you know.
How do you do it?
But that's how I win all the Emmys. So, how long are you going to be out here in your home state of?
Let's see. I got about.
Oh, you got right down to the minute.
Yeah. Let me see here. 12 and 8, 20 more hours.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I'm so flattered you came by, that you made time.
This was at the top of the
You're
list.
You're a man of your
friend.
word. Oh, thank you. You know,
you reached out to me, and I don't think I told you the story, but you reached out to me, and I I hit up my representation. I said, I just got this email from Bill Maher. Is he in the family? And yeah, I said, will you just verify his email, because this is fucking tripping me out. Because I told you, I texted you yesterday. I said, this is surreal for me, because I have held you on this, in this esteem of like a voice of reason for so long. And I grew up in a very conservative household, right? So
Really?
like watching you would be like not okay. So being a rebel at nature.
Really?
Yeah. You were
just watching me?
Yeah, because you're a liberal for so long, right?
I'm a liberal now.
Yeah. So for me, being a rebel is like, I'm gonna fucking watch Bill Maher. I'm gonna see what he's all about. And from the first time I watched your show, I was just always struck by your level of intelligence, and I respected that.
Oh,
and
finish
your level
of. No, go on.
No, just how I always appreciate your point of view. And I've always been someone, even if I don't agree with you, I can respect opinions if they're well thought out and intelligent, and that's what you've always been about. And so for you to hit me up the way you did, it meant the absolute world to me.
I'm so glad.
And I was so awestruck. I was like, can you just verify I'm not getting fucking pranked here? This is actually Bill. And,
yeah.
And
no, I mean,
so that's why I said, when I hit you up and I'm like, I'm gonna be in LA, you know, I'd love to come on if it works. These are the times I got available. Like this was at the top of the list.
I appreciate
man.
it.
So thank you.
I'm so glad you told me that, because I didn't really even realize all that. And you know, it's just nice on a personal level, because I was doing it basically because I was thinking, how, you know, I've always loved watching this guy play, but like, here is a good voice, and we need more voices to just, again, open a window and let a little fresh air in this room full of stale air about medical information and what we think we know and what is the science. We need more people who are just saying, just keep an open mind. We're not anti-vaxxers. I never was. No, a vaccine is a medical intervention. It is a pharmaceutical product. Those are not dirty words to me. Every time you take any sort of medicine, it is a medical intervention. You're probably using a pharmaceutical product or a natural product, but even natural products can have very harmful effects.
Totally.
Herbs are strong, okay. But we make these decisions based on our best knowledge of what's going on in our body at the time.
What's best for us?
And it should be our decision of whatever. So to put vaccines in a much bigger picture than just the fucking monofocus people had on COVID and vaccine. It's like, okay, I look at health in general, and I think you did too. So I felt, I saw on whatever the interview was, or whatever got you in fucking trouble, I thought I saw, there's a
Getting COVID got me in trouble.
Yes, there's a kindred spirit. And there's many of them out there. Again, it's just that people are so intimidated from speaking on the subject. Doctors are. They know they will be ostracized. They will be demonized. They can lose their license. I just told you, Gavin Newsom is thinking about signing a bill to criminalize medical misinformation.
Yeah, based on whose standard of misinformation?
So, exactly. So, you know, to have an ally on this subject meant a lot to me, and it's great to find out now that this personal connection too. And
you got more than an ally now. You got a friend.
I appreciate that, and you know, not to make this a mutual dick sucking contest, but
go ahead.
I just have to say, as a football fan, I mean, getting back to what I think I said, like, I don't know when we started. I can't remember what day this is now, but like all the entertainment you've given me, because at the end of the day, we're both entertainers.
Totally.
Sports is for entertainment. I mean, many times I've said to myself, if I had never got hooked on football, watching football, I generally don't watch. See, football's once a week. Well, no. It's 4 times.
It's
Yeah,
way
it used
more
to be.
now.
And then it was when I was a kid, it was just Sunday.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
Totally.
oh, you know
That's
what?
the best. Now it's Sunday
give 'em a
night,
little-
Sunday afternoon,
Oh,
Sunday
yeah.
morning, Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night,
even in December, Saturday.
Saturdays.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. It was like
With
we gotta-
COVID, there were some Tuesday games.
Right. Yes. Do you remember when Frank Gifford got caught cheating on Kathy Lee Gifford?
Yeah.
You do?
I did.
And
Frank Gifford, Al Michaels, Dan Dierdorf. That was like the voices of my childhood.
Right.
Monday Night Football. It was those three.
Norm Crosby, I think it was, had the best joke. He said, Kathy Lee Gifford, the wife at the time, got very suspicious when somebody told her there was no such thing as Tuesday Night Football. But
Man. See,
no,
we need
it's-
comedy. We need comedy. We
I'm-
don't need censorship.
I'm
we
here
need
for
comedy.
I am down with that, brother.
We need
But-
comedy
but
to lighten the load.
but it is entertainment.
Totally.
What we both do is just entertainment. And I was going to say, many of the time I've thought to myself, if I had never gotten started, how many hours in my life would I have back to have done something of merit, of value, other than sitting and watching you throw a fucking piece of leather, which is pointless. And yet, I can't wait for the season to start. I can't. And when I have the NFL package like all red-blooded American men.
Got to.
Men, I mean.
Do you like watching games, or do you like
I mean,
watching the Red Zone channel?
I mean, people with a penis. The Red Zone channel, I can watch. It depends. See, here's the thing. Like I said,
well, the Giants are playing. You're watching the Giants.
of course.
If the Jets are playing, and the
Although,
Giants aren't playing. You're watching
you know
the
what?
Jets.
Yes,
Okay.
Jets. But I'll have one game going on in the bathroom, one on the TV. I'm walking back and see. I get up like when the games start. The games start early out here, and
Yeah.
I don't get up early. So like I'm
You're a
usually,
night owl.
I'm a night owl. Come on, I'm a comedian. I live here at Club Random.
Come on.
I sleep right there in the VIP. No, so I like when I get up, it's probably like halftime of the first game, which out here on the coast starts at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So which is
Good
perfect.
for you. You're waking up at 11:30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Easing
like-
your day.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like right before the half, I get to catch something exciting.